So far we have learnt about collection of data, classification of data and tabulation of data. In any statistical investigation, the first step is collection of data. These collected data are put into different groups in a systematic and meaningful form under classification and tabulation. Even by observing the tables, it is not possible to answer the problem on hand. For this purpose, data must be analyzed. Means analysis of data is to be made, what we say statistical analysis. In the analysis, the first method is averages. An average is a single value indicating the direct effect of all the figures collected in an investigation. Means such value is of great significance because it depicts the characteristics of the whole data. Average, since average represents the whole data, its value means average lies somewhere in between two extremes, that is the largest value and the smallest value. On the other hand, the concentration of value are more near the averages. Means this average represents the entire group of data. That means it's the concentration of values are more near the averages. That's why it is also called as measures of central tendency. Now, when you come to the requisites of measures of central tendency, then we say this must be easy to understand, simple to compute. It should be based on all the values of variables. It must be rigidly defined. It must be having further algebraic treatment. It must be having sampling stability. Sampling stability means any fluctuation in the sample should not affect the averages. Means if you make any changes in the sample values, the mean should be the same. Means they are the requisites, or what we say essentials of a good average. Now, when you come to objectives or functions of averages, we say that first one is to condense the data. It is known to you, when the data are collected in mass, one cannot arrive at final conclusion so easily because human mind feels it a complicated one to handle with that mass data. Therefore, here first we will going to classify and then we will going to tabulate still in order to make it very simple and to make very convenient to handle. Then we will going to calculate the averages. Means if you take the result, then that will be going to be classified as distinctions, first class, second class, pass class, like that. But when one is asked what is the result of the college, result of the university, that is to be conveyed in a single figure. That in that case we say it is 70%, 65%, 80% or just 50%, like that. Means that is nothing but an average. Okay, that means that we are going to condense the mass of the data. It makes to handle the collected data very convenient, and it is also easy for taking the decision. Not only to condense the data, but it also helps the comparison. Means for comparison purpose of similar data, it is so useful or helpful. Means here if you want to compare the per capita income of same country for past several years, or per capita income of among the different companies, and what is the profit of the company for last several years or between the competitors, like that. Means it helps the comparison between person to person or time to time or place to place Even temperature may be compared from time to time, place to place, like that. Now that means this averages helps even for comparison purpose and for further analysis. Here in further algebraic analysis, this averages is very much useful. Means here in order to calculate mean deviation, coefficient of variation, correlation, analysis of time series, in all those, here the first step is this averages. Therefore, these averages are also called first measure of analysis. Now, here next one is to represent the universe, means to have some picture of the entire data. This averages is useful, means these are the objectives and also they are the functions of averages. Means almost most of the averages are these descriptive statistics are either averages, means measures of central tendency, or measures of dispersion. Here first is measure of central tendency, and this measure of central tendency will going to give the cushion to the next topic, that is the measure of dispersion. Now when you come to the merits and demerits of averages, here this average is easy to understand, simple to compute, and it is based on all the values of variables. It is rigidly defined, it is having further algebraic treatment, and it is having sampling stability also. These are the main advantages or merits of measures of central tendency or averages. But even it is also not free from the limitations, or what we say drawbacks or the demerits. Here the main demerit is it is affected by extreme values. Means if you take the simple example result, if it is said that the aggregate mass is 60%, there is a possibility of getting failed. Means here that is the average, but what is the lowest value or the highest value? If these extreme values, abnormal extreme values are not there in the collected data, then it is a good measure of analysis of statistical data. On the other hand, if there is abnormal extreme values, means abnormal too small value or too large value, then this method will not give the correct picture or the correct answer. Okay, and also just by depending upon these averages, one cannot take any final decision, or one cannot come to the conclusion without the detailed information. Here, for example, you take two business units. You take one as A and another one as B. Here, take two business units, and here it may be given average profit for last 3 years may be 50,000 rupees. It may be given average profit for last 3 years is 50,000 rupees. Now by looking at this average profit, we will come to know both are in the same position, isn't it? Now but the actual may be different. Here you take first year, second year, means this is the profit, first year, second year and third year profit. Here it may be 30,000, then 40,000 and 80,000. Total is how much? 1,50,000. In case of B, 80,000, 40,000, 30,000. Now total is how much? 1,50,000. That is the total profit for last 3 years, and average profit for the last 3 years is how much? 50,000. Here when we say average, that doesn't mean in all the 3 years the profit will be 50,000. That is the aggregate figure. Now, here in both the cases, total profit for last 3 years 1,50,000 and 1,50,000 divided by 3 we will get 50,000 as average profit. But if you observe the trend, see in case of unit A it is increasing trend, but in case of unit B that is declining trend. Means here when you get the actual information, then we may find there is a growth in this business unit, and here there is decline in the case of business unit B. Therefore, here the small example I have given, here in case of taking the decision for investment on any company shares, then one has to go through what is his average profit, what is the prosperity of the business, all those things. In those cases, without having the detailed information, one cannot take any final decision on the basis of just averages. This is the main drawback of this averages. Anyhow, by keeping in mind this limitation, here we cannot deny the use or application of these averages. That is very much useful, but anyhow we have to keep in mind the limitation. Now, here when you come to types of averages, here mainly there are 5 types of averages. First one is arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean, it is denoted by the symbol AM, or usually popularly we use as X bar. We take as X bar. Then second one is geometric mean, and it is denoted by GM. Third one is harmonic mean, and it is denoted by HM. Fourth one is median, and it is denoted by capital letter M. And fifth one is mode, that is denoted by capital letter Z. These are the different methods, or types of computing averages. Now, here I will going to cover first arithmetic mean, and median and mode, and in the later stages I will take geometric mean and harmonic mean, because in most of the universities in the syllabus these 3 topics are included. Therefore, in the later stages I cover even geometric mean and harmonic mean. Okay. Now, let us take this arithmetic mean. This arithmetic mean is the quotient obtained when total of all the values are divided by the number of values. That means X bar or arithmetic mean is nothing but total of the values divided by number of values. That's all. Here X, this sign is read as bar. It is read as X bar or bar X in both the ways you may take, but usually we say X bar. Now, arithmetic mean is nothing but the quotient obtained when the total of the values are divided by number of values. Therefore, X bar formula is X bar equals total of the values divided by number of values. Now, here before taking the problems, first you must be knowing in what are the different ways we may solve the problems, whether it is arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, median or mode. In what are the different types we may solve the problems. Here mainly we come across two types. One is ungrouped data and another one is grouped data. Now here ungrouped, it is also called as data not classified, or it is also called as individual series. Okay, that means under ungrouped data, for time being I am rubbing this one. Here you may take like this. Okay, here take ungrouped data or data not classified or individual series. Here we take grouped data. Here again under grouped data we come across discrete series and continuous series. Discrete series and continuous series, we have already come across this discrete series and continuous series under the topic classification. Okay, now here ungrouped data means here no class interval, no frequency, means you will be given just numbers, means here you may take 50, 68, 45, 90, 61, then 59, like this it may be given. Okay, or okay, it is enough. Now here no frequency and no class interval, just values of variables will be given. Now when these are called variables, and variables is denoted by x. Here we take x means variables and frequency. It may be given 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, like that. Now or even you may take 70. Now here frequency may be given 3, 7, 15, 18, here take 15, 28, 22, then 8, 7. Okay, that means here no class interval, but frequencies are given. Okay, now under continuous series it will be like this. Here you may take 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 60 to 70, you may take one more 70 to 80. Frequencies, you may take the same frequencies or you may take even different frequencies. Now see here, it is already known to you, when the variables are given in single values, that is discrete series, means variables are not put into groups, but when the variables are put into groups, then we will have two limits for each group, or what we say each class. And here in the class 10 to 20, two limits are 10 and 20. We say 10 as lower limit and 20 as upper limit. Difference between these two limits is nothing but class interval. Means in this case both class interval and frequencies are given. Both class interval and frequencies are given. Why I have written this in detail means in the examination you will not be asked to find averages under ungrouped data or under grouped data, discrete series or continuous series. Nothing will be mentioned. By looking at the information given in the problem, you have to decide to which group it belongs to, whether it is ungrouped data, whether it is discrete series or continuous series. Okay, here only variables are given. That means here only x values are available. Here when it is simple, it is known to you. When you calculate your percentage of marks, what you will going to do? You will going to take the total of the marks you have scored divided by number of subjects or number of values, isn't it? Same thing. Here we take the total of these values, that we say sigma x. Here sigma, in case of ungrouped data, to find out x bar or arithmetic mean, the formula is sigma x divided by n. Means here x bar equals sigma x divided by n. Now sigma means total. Sigma, here see this symbol is called sigma, that means total. X means values of variables. Now sigma x means total of variables divided by n. Here I have used small n. N refers to number of values of variable given in the problem. Here if you take sigma x in this problem, then you have to take the total 10, 15, 20, 3, 7, 13, 13, 9, 22, 22, 32, 5, 37. Sigma x is 37 divided by equals sigma, here if you take sigma x, 373. 373, that is sigma x divided by n. N, how many values are there? 3, 6. And here n equals 6, or here you may take n equals 6. If you are asked to calculate x bar, then x bar equals sigma x divided by n. Sigma x is 373 divided by n is 6. Means here 373 divided by 6. Here 6 6 are 36, remaining 1, 13, 6 2s are 12, remaining 1, means 6 1s are 6, then remaining is 4. You will come across 6 6 6, means you will get the average value 62.1667, or depending upon the for which you will going to calculate, you may take even 62.17. When it is percentage, then you may take 62.2 or like that, or 62 point. When it is rupee value, you may take 62.17, or if it is the weight of gold or silver, then you cannot even forgo the milligrams, then you may consider 3 digits, it depends. Okay, means it is the problem how we are going to calculate x bar under or arithmetic mean under ungrouped data. Now when it is asked, by giving the problem, it is asked calculate arithmetic mean, then this average arithmetic mean or average, then if it was given in the heading instead of x, if it was given marks, then answer you have to write average marks is 62.17. Okay. Now on the other hand, if it was given in the heading, instead of just x or marks, it may be given demand in 100 quintals. Demand in 100 quintals. Then what we have to write? As usual, you have to calculate this demand in 100 quintals is to be taken as X. Variable is denoted by X. Then as usual, you have to calculate. Then what you have to do is average demand is these are given in 100 quintals. Here while taking the problem, you need not take all the figures in quintals. You take as they are, but ultimate answer you have to give in quintals. 100 quintals means here average X bar equals how much? 62.1667 into here these are given in 100 quintals, 100, therefore it is 6,000. Here you have to shift here 2 zeros, here you have to shift 2 zeros to the right side. That is the shortcut method. Even if you multiply, same answer you will get. Okay, shift this decimal point to 2 places to the right side. That means 6216. Here you have to put the decimal point. 67 quintals. Means average demand is 6,216.67 quintals. Okay, like that. In case if demand is given in 1000 quintals, okay, demand is given in 1000 quintals, then what we have to do? Here multiplied by, we have to calculate the average in the same manner, you arrive at the final answer. Now that is to be multiplied by 1000 because these are given in 1000 quintals. Here 3 zeros are there. What you have to do? You have to shift this decimal point 3 places to the right side. That means it is 62166.7. That means what? Average demand is 62,166.7 quintals. 0.7 quintals. Now, if it is given in 10,000 quintals, then what happens? 4 zeros will be there. You shift the decimal point 4 places to the right side. This shortcut method should be known to you. Okay, I hope you have followed. Or instead of in quintals, it may be given in lakhs of rupees. Then, as usual, lakhs means 5 zeros will be there. You have to shift 5 places to the right side, like that. Okay. Or if it is given just here, when it is given marks, then we will say 62.16%. Okay. Now, like this, you have to calculate the arithmetic mean under averages. Now, under ungrouped data, arithmetic mean or averages under ungrouped data. When you come to grouped data, then we come across discrete series and continuous series. Now, again here under discrete series, we come across again 3 different ways of calculating the averages, but most familiar are direct method and step deviation method. Here I think this one is not necessary now. Now it is known to you. Here averages, whether it is arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, median or mode, we come across the problems under ungrouped data and grouped data. And here again under grouped data we come across discrete series and continuous series. Here you must be knowing the difference between these 3 series. Here in case of ungrouped data, no frequencies, no class interval, only values of variables will be given. In case of discrete series, frequencies will be given but no class interval. No class interval but frequencies are given. These are the frequencies. Now, in case of continuous series, both class interval and frequencies are given. By looking at the given information, first we have to come to know whether it is ungrouped data or group data, and again under group data whether it is discrete or continuous. Okay, now here when you come to discrete series, here under discrete series and continuous series we come across mainly three types. First one is direct, second one is indirect, and third one is step deviation. It is direct, second one indirect method, and third one is step deviation method. Now this direct indirect step deviation, that is on the basis of variation in the increment among the variables. We say direct, indirect or step deviation depending upon the variation among the variables, depending upon the variation in variables among the this direct, indirect or step deviation, that is on the base segregation is on the basis of variation in the increment among the variables. Okay, direct, indirect or step deviation, that segregation is on the basis of variation in increment among the variables. Here see the increment between 10 and 20 or the difference between the variables. 10 to 20 increment is 10, 10 to 20 to 30 increment is 10, 30 to 40 10, 40 to 50 10, 50 to 60 10, 60 to 70 10. The difference between the succeeding value of variable and the preceding value of variable we say increment. Difference between the succeeding value of variable and the preceding value of variable we say increment. Now on the basis of the changes in this increment or variation in the increment among the values of variables we segregate as direct, indirect and step deviation. Now if the increment changes continuously or if the increment changes at many places, then we say direct method. Means here you may take 12, 10, 15, 22, 32, 40, 60. You see the increment. 10 minus 8, it is 2. Then 15 minus 10, 5. 22 minus 15, 7. 32 minus 22, 10. 40 minus 32, 8. And 40 minus 32, 8. Then 60 minus 40, 20. Isn't it? Now these are the increment. See, increment 10 minus 8, 2, 15 minus 10, 5, 22 minus 15, 7, 32 minus 22, 10, 40 minus 32, 8, 60 minus 40, 20. Means increment among values of variable changes continuously, isn't it? Or even if it was given again 48, and even though the increment is 8 and 8, but increment among variable changes at many places, then we consider it as direct method. And here as usual frequencies will be given. Means these are the variables and you may be given the frequencies. You may take the same frequencies here, for example 15, 28, 22, 8, 7. Frequencies are the same, no change in the frequencies will be given as usual, but increment among the variables will going to change continuously or at many places. That we say direct method. Then when you come to indirect method, here it may be like this: variables x 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50, then here it is take 65, 65, 85. Now see, and frequencies will be given 3, 7, 15, 28, 22, 8, 7. Okay. Now see the increment among the variables: 10 to 20, 10, 20 to 30, 10, 30 to 40, 10, 40 to 50, 10. But here 50 to 65, here it is 15, and 65 to 85, it is 20. That means increment among the variables changes at a few places. Then it is called indirect method. Now, even if the increment has changed only in one place, instead of like this, here if it was given 60, same increment, here it will going to change. Means increment has changed only in one place, still it is considered as indirect method. If the increment changes continuously or at many places, direct method. If the increment changes at a few places or even in one place, it is indirect method. On the other hand, here whatever the example taken here under discrete series, see the increment from first value to last value, increment is 10, that is the common. That means if the increment is common, then it is step deviation method. Okay. Now, usually in practice we apply either direct method or step deviation method. Okay. Now, in case of means here anyhow you must be knowing, it must be known to you what is indirect method, but you need not concentrate much on indirect method, but to know direct method and the step deviation method. Now here, now take direct method and step deviation method. Now in case of direct method, to find out arithmetic mean, the formula is x bar equals sigma fx divided by sigma f. Here sigma f means total of frequencies. Here if you take the total of frequencies 15, 25, 30, 40, 4, 5, 90, isn't it? Okay, sigma fx f is 90, and now here we need sigma fx. Here sigma means total, fx. Fx means what? Fx equals f into x. That means what? We have to multiply f and x. We have to multiply these two. That means f into x. Each value of frequency, each value of variable to be multiplied. 3 into 8, 24. 10 into 7, 70. 15 into 15, 225. 28 into 22, 28 into 22, 616. Next 22 into 32, that is 704. Then 8 into 40, 8 into 40, 320. Then 48 into 7, that is 336. These are sigma fx. Sigma fx means you have to take total of fx, that is 336 plus 320 plus 704 plus 616 plus 225 plus 94, isn't it? 70 plus 24, 94. Total is 2295, isn't it? Okay, it is sigma fx. Now, you have to apply the formula. X bar equals sigma fx 2295 divided by sigma f. Sigma f is 90. That means 2295 divided by 90, that is 25.5. Now this is x bar. Thus all. Now even here also it may be given x, instead of giving x you may be given marks, number of students, rent and number of families, wages and number of workers, like that it may be given. Now here this is the direct method, means here when you have to apply the direct method, you first have to observe the increment among the variables. When the increment among the variables changes continuously or at many places, then you must come to know it is direct. First we have to observe whether the variables are given in groups or individual values. Then first you should come to know it is discrete series. Under discrete series, if the increment is changes at many places or continuously, direct method. Under direct method you have to apply the formula sigma fx divided by sigma f. Sigma f is nothing but total of frequencies. Sigma fx means total of f into x, means first we have to multiply these two, means frequency and variable, take the total of fx column, then apply the formula. Okay, then when you come to step deviation method, then here under step deviation method, how do we come to know it is step deviation? When the increment among the variables do not changes, or when there is common increment among the variables, then we say it is step deviation method. Then here x will be take same 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Then frequencies 3, 7, 15, 28, 22, 8, 7. Okay. Now here first you take the formula to find out x bar under step deviation method in case of discrete series is x bar equals a plus, first I will give here x bar equals a plus c d bar. Okay. Now a refers to assumed mean. Among the given values of variables, any one of the variable may be taken as assumed mean, that is of your choice. Here you may take 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, whichever the value of your choice may be taken as assumed mean. But here you must be knowing whatever the value you take as assumed mean, whether 10 or 50 or 70, ultimate answer will be the same. But in practice, usually we take a middle one as assumed mean or corresponding to the highest frequency. That is just by practice or for our convenience. There is no rigid rule that it should be taken corresponding to the highest frequency or the middle value. Any value of variable may be taken as assumed mean. But usually in practice we take corresponding to the highest frequency or the middle one. Okay. A, assumed mean. A equals assume mean. Now, here let A equals assumed mean, that is not the calculated mean, that is the assumed mean. Then C equals common increment among the variables. C means common increment, and D bar equals sigma FD divided by sigma F. Then here we have come across one more term, D. Here D equals x minus A divided by C. Okay. Here D is nothing but deviation from variables. D refers to deviation from variables. Here in some textbooks it may be given, instead of D, it may be given dx also. That means it denotes deviation from variable x. Here, in order to make the formula as simple as possible, anyhow it is known to us that deviation is from variable x. Therefore, here I have taken the letter just D. Here, instead of taking sigma f dx, I take just D. It is enough. That must be known to you. D refers to deviation from variable x. To calculate D, we apply this formula, x minus A divided by C. Okay. Now, that means here when you come across the steps in calculating, now I am rubbing this one. Here what you have to do is, here formula is x bar equals A plus CD bar, A equals assumed mean, C equals common increment among variables, then D bar equals sigma FD divided by sigma F, then sigma F is known to you, then D equals x minus A divided by C. That means here first step is, first we have to find out, when you come across the steps, first step is we have to find out A and C. First we have to find out A and C, and second step is we have to find out D, and third step is D bar, and fourth step is X bar. Okay. Now here in this case A, assume mean, here I have told you, for our convenience we take usually corresponding to the highest frequency. Among the given frequencies, highest frequency is 28. Therefore, assume mean is 40. Now I have written A left side to 40, not right side to 40, because usually students get confused that highest frequency itself is assuming. There you should be careful. Among the given values of variables, we take one of the value of variable as assuming, not the frequency. Therefore, 40 is assuming. Here let A equals 40 and C refers to common increment among the variables. Therefore, C, here common increment is how much? 20 minus 10, 30 minus 20, 70 minus 60. Here in all the places the increment is 10. Now, first step is over, A and C. Next, second step is D. Here D equals x minus A is how much? A is taken as 40 divided by C. C is how much? 10. D equals x minus A divided by C. In this case, x minus 40 divided by 10. Okay. Now, here as per that means we have to take the deviation from each value of variable. In the place of x, we have to go on taking these values of variables 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Individually we have to calculate. Okay. Now, the formula to calculate D is what? X minus 40 divided by C. Okay, now first value of x is how much? 10 minus 40 divided by c is 10 equals 10 minus 40 minus 30 divided by 10 equals minus 3, isn't it? Now next one, now this one is over. Next one is same formula, 20 minus 40 divided by 10, 20 minus 40 minus 20 divided by 10 minus 2. Next one, this one is over. Next one, 30 minus 40 divided by 10 minus 10 divided by 10 equals minus 1. Next one is 40. 40 minus 40 divided by 10 equals 0 divided by 10 equals 0. Next 40 is over. 50. 50 minus 40 divided by 10 equals 50 minus 40. Difference is plus 10 divided by 10 equals 1. Okay. Next one is 60 equals 60 minus 40 divided by 10. Difference is plus 20 divided by 10 equals plus 2. Then 70. 70 minus 40 divided by 10 equals difference is plus 30 divided by 10, 3. Okay. Now you may observe here assume mean is 40. Variable is also 40. Now corresponding to assume mean 0. Above that 1, 2, 3. Below that 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now above assume mean, above 0, algebraic sign is minus. Below 0, algebraic sign is plus. Now here from next problem onwards, even in the examination, you need not show this calculation, means you need not show the working note, but anyhow it must be known to you. Means here corresponding to assuming d value will be 0. Above that 1, 2, 3, 4 still values variables are there, we will get 4, 5 like that with minus sign. Below that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continues with plus sign, provided variables are in ascending order. If the variables are in descending order, these values are the same, but the algebraic signs will be changed. Above 0 with plus sign and below 0 with minus sign. That should be known to you. Now D is over. Okay. Now here second step is over. Now we have to take third step is, here third step you have to take FD, and fourth step is D bar, and fifth step is X bar. Okay. Now you have to take FD. FD means what? F into D. You have to multiply these two. While multiplying, you have to keep in mind even algebraic sign. 3 into minus 3, minus 9. 7 into minus 2, minus 14. 15 into minus 1, minus 15, 0. 28 into 0. 22 into 1, 22. 8 into 2, 16. 7 into 3, 21. Now you have to take the minus values total separately and plus values total separately. Here it is 29 minus 38 minus 38. Now here 59 plus 59 minus 39 and plus 59. Now you have to take the difference between these two. Here 59 minus 38, it is difference is 21 and highest value sign is plus, that is 21. Now sigma FD is 21. Sigma FD is 21. Now we have to, next we have to go to here FD is over. Now you have to take D bar. Now D bar equals sigma FD divided by sigma F. Now sigma FD, sigma F is how much? 90, isn't it? Sigma F. Now sigma FD is 21 divided by 90. Now here 21 divided by 90. 21 divided by 90 equals 0.2333. Here when there is a decimal fractional values, then we consider 4 values in practice. Okay, now D bar is over. Now next step is X bar. X bar equals A plus C D bar. Now A is how much? 40 plus C is C D bar means C into D bar. C is how much? 10 into D bar 0.2333. Now 40 plus 2 point here multiplied by 10 means just you have to shift 1 decimal point to the right side. That is the shortcut method. 2.333 equals 42.333. Okay, this is step deviation method. Okay, now I think we may stop at this point.